high school. She was like, no, I don't want you. And then once she became a baby mama, he was a CEO, executive, and all that. And she like, hey, you remember me? He said, no, I don't want you. I be feeling like, respectfully, y'all is the grown-up versions of the that got hurt in high school while we was out with the drug dealers. Let me tell you something. We were victims then making horrible ass decisions with grown ass preying on us. Y'all gotta let that go.
What about the girls who had the older guys picking them up in high school?
Like, get the over
it was right.
All right, everyone. So back with me, back with another episode. The Black Intellectuals tuned in for another topic, and unfortunately, it's about my girl Randi. Now, all point aside, I actually like Randi. Right? I think Randi's real cool. I think the Let's Rant About It show is legitimate. I love Anton for making sure it happened. Things like that of the sort. But what I want to talk about is that specific situation where she pointed out, like, yeah, you know, the nerdy dude back in high school just wanted that black girl, and she didn't want him. She wanted a drug dealer. She wanted a scammer. Blah blah blah, whatever. And now that he's a CEO, he's like, "Ew, I don't want you because you're a baby mama, and I know who your baby dads are." Now let's just bring reality to the situation, right? Not just because the nerd does not mean he's going to be a CEO or anything like that, but he will end up being somewhat well off. And the thing is, a lot of people try to make it seem like when you're in the hood, you only have one outcome. Clearly, you don't just have one outcome, right? And this guy was into a girl that was probably just well out of his league, which is common for boys when we're teenagers because it just happens that way, right? Sometimes we like the real popular girl in school, but sometimes we like the girl who's just really smart and going places, and we tend to like her too, right? We don't all like the girl that's cool with all the cool kids. Sometimes the smart guy likes the real smart girl, but she's going places and she don't want to mess that up, and it's understandable. But the argument here is so just not right, because her argument was we were out messing with the drug dealers, implying y'all knew who y'all was out messing with, but you called yourselves victims for it. Y'all not victims of it if y'all were out there doing it to begin with and you knew you were doing it. Saying men were preying on y'all, but you had a choice to say no. You could have just been like, I don't want to mess with you, and walked. So you're telling us that you were out messing with the drug dealers by choice. You weren't tricked. You weren't fooled. You did it by choice. So you just confirmed what we've been talking about. Don't even realize that you just did it. Then the other thing is telling them to just let it go is also crazy because they didn't make them kids. They're not responsible for them kids and they shouldn't have to be. They shouldn't be responsible for you because you made those choices. No one's perfect. No one's saying that people are perfect. What we're saying is you have choices that you can make and you don't want to take responsibility for the people that you chose to deal with or have children with. And the craziest part about this whole thing is that it's always after y'all go through these situations. After y'all have been abused, used, misconstrued, you got a lot of drama, trauma, emotional issues, abuse issues, abandonment issues. Now you want to bring all of that to him and make him deal with it. Why is that his job now? And just to say let it go was crazy because we could say let it go from what you dealt with, but we'd be insensitive or we hit our moms. So the argument here isn't even so much that, like, oh, the CEO should just, I think it's just forget what we did and just accept what we bring, seems to be the argument. And that's just, no, man. No, that's trash. I'm sorry. Like, it's not even a standards thing. It's just why? Like, why should he have to deal with that? Like, he shouldn't have to. Again, he's not perfect, but he still made better choices than you to get him to where he is. You chose to make the wrong choices to get you where you are. So why is he supposed to just drop everything? And this is the question I think a lot of people have been asking. Why is it up to the guy you don't want to solve your problem when you didn't want him anyway? And why should he just now all of a sudden just take you? He doesn't have to. It's just a lot to like unpack here because it's just crazy to me. It's just like the goofy behavior that she basically admitted. Mind you, Randy's parents were married. She talks about all the time that her parents were married. She don't got no kids out of wedlock. She married her husband, have a kid with her husband, but her parents were married, and she still dealt with the BS that a lot of girls who don't. So basically, what you confirmed was if the kids' parents are married or not, whether she has a dad in her life or not, black women are still going to do this. You just confirmed it. You basically confirmed it because I see this every day in where I'm at. She be like, "Oh, I love my daddy. I love my daddy," but she got three baby dads. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but your dad didn't want you to do this, and it's also under the stretch that we're seeing women do this for free by choice all the time. Like the talking points that the men are having in this space is not unpresent. Like we're watching y'all do this, and you just confirmed that y'all do this indeed by conscientious choice, which means you are becoming single mothers and all these other things by these men on a 100% choice rate. Hmm. But the guy who marries outside his race is the problem. The guy from the same neighborhood as you who did what he was supposed to do, who succeeded, is the problem. But he didn't impregnate a bunch of y'all and made y'all single mothers. But the thing about the thing that Randy's talking about is that picture has another side to it that we don't really see often. And what we see is, the beat a chick thing and whatever. But what we don't see is in his thing, there's like the nerdy black girl who's into him apparently and says, why do they always want the popular girls? And then when he sees her and he goes, "Hey, remember me when they're older?" She done glue up and she's like, "No, I don't." And it ends with him saying all black women are the same. Here's where this argument doesn't make sense either. And I want to defend this argument too. A lot of those nerdy black girls, quote unquote, they still have boyfriends in high school. It may not be with the nerdy black dude, but she has a boyfriend in high school. You can go to college and see it for yourself. Black women who are smart can go anywhere, school, wherever, and get a boyfriend. But somehow the smart black guy has the worst time on the dating market because he wants to date a black girl. How does that work? So and I even had my own mother try to make this argument with me, like the nerdy black girl with the glasses and the big forehead. He didn't want her. Yes, he did. He wanted her too. He wanted some black woman, right? But the thing was, that black girl was running around behind the varsity boys and the basketball, like all the top jocks, just like every other girl in school was. She also wanted a drug dealer too, because we see that as well. Just because a black girl got glasses don't mean she ain't dealing with criminals, because we know for a fact that even high up professional lawyer black women are dealing with criminals and having kids with them too. Teachers, nurses, lawyers, doctors, whatever. If it's a black woman, more times than not, that's the father of her child, no matter where she comes from. But I find it funny that somehow the guy who does what he's supposed to do and leaves the hood, he's the problem, but not the people who are responsible for the problem in the hood. He's the problem. He gets all the blame. He gets all the smoke. He's supposed to just let it go and drop it and go about his business and do all these other things because the village. It's a lot to unpack here. It's a lot to unpack here. But This was going to be a short one anyway, because I know the last couple joints I did was a little longer, but you know, these joints getting a little shorter. But it's just a short topic because it's just like we know what the issue is. Y'all tell us all the time on these panels and talk shows and everything like that. Y'all not slick. Y'all trying to. The real issue is y'all are mad at the options that you're forced to have now. That's really what it is. Your pool got smaller, your options are smaller, and you don't like most options you have to pick from. And you're trying to force these guys who made it to a certain status to deal with you. They don't really have to. That's something your mamas and your aunties never told y'all. They really don't have to. But that's all I got on the topic. That's the Black Intellectual. Make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more. See you on the next one.